If you're looking for a way to make a real tangible difference in your community, check out Impact 100 chapters in your city. It's a network of women who come together, pool their resources, and fund powerful local change, often awarding grants of $100,000 or more to nonprofits right where you live. There are chapters all over the country, so chances are there's one near you. Find it, join it, and be part of something that actually moves the needle. There's a version of obsessive-compulsive disorder that most people think they understand. Clean hands, organized desks, checking locks. But clinically, that's not OCD. That's a stereotype, because real OCD is not about preference. It's about what happens when the brain's threat detection system misfires and starts treating harmless thoughts, objects, or sensations as if they are existential emergencies. And when that happens, OCD doesn't stay neat. It becomes strange, sometimes surreal. Today, we're getting into real documented psychiatric cases when OCD attached itself in strange ways. And when OCD attaches, it doesn't let go easily. Hello, strangers! Welcome to Strange Mind, the podcast where we talk about abnormal psychology, neuroscience, and real clinical cases. I'm Dr. Amy Busing.
I'm Viking Cat Lady.
And right now, before you listen, please go and rate us and subscribe and share this podcast, and then come right back, because what you're about to hear is not internet exaggeration. These are published psychiatric case presentations and treatment studies, and they are very real. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's go.
We're going to talk about obsessive-compulsive disorder. But before I get into that, it's important to know that OCD is just not one diagnosis. There's several subtypes. And today we're going to talk about just three of them: contamination OCD, scrupulosity or moral religious OCD, and somatic just right OCD. So those are the three subtypes. And
Okay.
we'll probably talk about the other subtypes. Some of them I'm like, this needs a whole episode. This is,
Okay.
you know what got me started on this was looking about the eating fur. And that
The
is
woman who eats her cat's fur.
yes, and that's like a whole subtype.
Did you come across that particular case?
I did, yes. Mm-hmm.
Very disturbing.
Yes. Okay. So the first case we're going to talk about is a case of contamination OCD. And this is a female patient. She's age 64 when this shows up. She was totally psychologically healthy before this.
So we have to look forward to this. Do
Yeah,
we?
great. There was no documented prior psychiatric history. Again, we don't know. Maybe she had a lot of anxiety.
Sure.
So the journal is Asia-based, but her location is anonymous. But she was treated in an outpatient psychiatric clinic. She was divorced and living with 3 of her 6 children when this happened. So she developed, that's weird, 3 adult children living at home.
Or, yes.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, she was living with them. But wait, they're living
Yeah.
together. The siblings.
But it is in Asia. Maybe that's more common. I don't know.
I think so.
Okay. So the more common contamination OCD, you probably have heard of that, where people are afraid of getting germs, right? It's germs, dirt, bodily fluids, so they feel contaminated, and they have to compulsively wash their hands, sometimes hundreds of times a day. They have to clean their spaces and change their clothes repeatedly. But this woman, suddenly, in her retirement years, develops an obsession not about germs or dirt, but about anything sweet. It sounds miserable.
Like everything from cake to strawberries?
Yes, even fruit. Even fruit. So she would have intense distress when she saw sugary foods, and she would compulsively avoid anything sweet. She felt that sweetness created a contaminating sensation. Like specifically, she thought that it would make her hands sticky, and she had to go run and wash her hands, even if she didn't get near it.
Even if she didn't get near it.
Even if she didn't get near it.
Oh.
So she engaged in repetitive hand washing after even seeing something. So entire food categories were eliminated from the house. She would get super freaked out if her kids even brought fruit into the house. And it got to the point where even if she even saw sweets packaging or heard an advertisement, she would feel contaminated and have to go wash her hands. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
So terrible. Since sweets are so good. All right, so let's talk about the neuroscience here. So what is actually malfunctioning? So there are 3 brain areas heavily involved in OCD. The first is the orbitofrontal cortex, and that's basically the part of the brain that scans for danger and says, hey, this might be dangerous. And that's normally the system that keeps you safe. And it usually starts flagging things that are threats. Mm-hmm. And in her case, like Twinkies.
Twix bars.
Yeah. Then you have the anterior cingulate cortex, which acts like the brain's error detector. So this is like the mental equivalent of the little flashing red light that says something feels wrong even when nothing is.
Okay.
And then there's the basal ganglia. Like, who comes up with these names? Which helps the brain know when to stop a behavior and move on. In OCD, that stop signal doesn't work. So instead of the brain seeing like,
this
candy,
is ridiculous, stop.
Yeah, it's a Jolly Rancher, move on. These 3 systems team up and basically say, something is wrong, you need to fix it. Also, we are not going to let this go until you do. So she washes, she avoids, she removes the sweet food. And then what happens is the anxiety drops for a minute. And then the brain says, oh my gosh, we just avoided catastrophe because we washed our hands. Let's do this forever.
Let's do it forever. Right.
Yeah. And then the next time the alarm comes back louder. And that's the OCD loop. It's a false alarm followed by a ritual, followed by the brain becoming more convinced that the ritual was necessary.
But why sweets?
Okay. I was thinking the same thing because normally we hear about germs, you know, so why would they think sweets? So the frustrating answer is psychiatrists have no idea why the brain fixates on like any one thing. It's basically they consider OCD like a parasite, kind of like constantly looking for something to latch onto. And it's a feeling of like wrongness, disgust, or danger. So they thought maybe it was like the sticky residue of it, like gave her that feeling because she said her hands felt sticky. Or there may have been some incident in her life that she wasn't conscious of where she like associated sweets with being contaminated. But I was thinking maybe some like diabolical woman smashed an ice cream cone in her face when she when she was little. A child. She's never been able to let it go. And the trauma like resurfaced.
Oh shit, that's a good one.
In her 60s.
Might be my fault.
You like that callback. So in any event, the orbitofrontal cortex decided the thing was suspicious. The anterior cingulate starts flashing something's wrong, and the basal ganglia refuses to let the thought move on. So every time she sees the sweet, she gets a horrible sensation of this is not okay. So even though you know it makes no sense, you're compelled to do it. That's like the creepiest part of OCD. It's like, even though you're saying, I know that I didn't even touch a sweet, but I have to go wash my hands. So
yeah, must be incredibly overpowering.
Yes. And people spend their whole days just doing rituals. I'm sure you've seen movies.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So OCD can turn sugar into a threat. It can also turn thoughts into moral emergencies. So the next case we're talking about is a male adolescent, approximately 13, who had been previously developing normally with no psychiatric symptoms. And this was published in the 2010s, and he was in a hospital-based psychiatric unit. So over a period of like a few months, he started exhibiting irritability, aggression, poor sleep, reduced attention, and then hyper-religiosity and social withdrawal. And then it starts getting worse. He starts touching girls inappropriately. So they're like, all right, we need to get this evaluated. So they learn he's been having obsessional thoughts and impulses related to sex, and his compulsion is that he has to confess to Buddha.
Oh my.
His brain starts like demanding these little panic rituals. So every time he has a sexually, like, inappropriate thought, he's compelled.
Oh, just a thought, not even an act.
Just the thought.
Okay.
He starts confessing his thoughts out loud to his family members over and over and over. He's asking his family members if he's a bad person over and over and over. He's apologizing over and over and over. And he repeats the mental phrases to try to feel clean again. And he directs his apologies towards Buddha.
There's got to be a pill for that.
Well, that's how they treat it. So this is like a combined, the sexual, because that's another subtype, is sexually intrusive thoughts. And then scrupulosity and moral religious. So like a horrible thought shows up. Doesn't even be that horrible, but a horrible thought.
Right.
The person is flooded with guilt. They perform some strange ritual, like confessing to Buddha.
Mm-hmm. And your whole family.
And your whole family. And then you feel better for like 8 seconds, and then you go through the whole thing again. So with this case, they gave him some meds, and he started improving, and he was going along okay. So they started easing up on the meds, and he starts masturbating in public. So they're like, okay, bring it back. We're going to do the meds again.
Oh, shoot. That escalated quickly.
Yeah. So at this point, at the point where this was written, he had been on meds and stable for 4 months. God only knows what's going on with him these days. But
when was the last update?
That was in the 2010s.
Oh.
Yeah. So we don't know. He's an adult now. Let's hope
Let's find him on Facebook.
Right? I wonder. I actually had a client who came to see me, and she was around like 13, and she was having obsessive thoughts about murdering her mother in like really, really gruesome ways. And she felt compelled to keep confessing to her mom because she felt guilty. And the mom's like, So she brought her to me, and she's like, I don't want to kill my mom. Like, they don't have a bad relationship, but this just like started happening. I am not an expert in OCD, so I referred her to someone who is, because it was a pretty significant case. But from my understanding, she got on medication and did well.
Oof.
Yeah. So it's highly treatable, but you have to be treated forever, you know?
Yeah, I would imagine.
So OCD builds the loop with scrupulosity OCD. You have a thought, and you can't really separate out that it's just a thought. Like the thought equals an action, and that action equals moral harm. Mm-hmm. So it's like the religion is the framework of the threat system. So inside the brain, the thought becomes like this huge neon sign that they can't ignore. So there's a part of your brain called the salience network. And this part of the brain, the job is to decide what deserves your attention. So like important things, dangerous things, weird things, Kraft Mac, Sauvignon Blanc. Your brain says, focus on this. But in OCD, the symptom overreacts, the system overreacts. So one intrusive sexual thought isn't like, oh, that was a weird thought, like whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is important and terrifying, and you need to do something about it. And then, as we know, the brake system doesn't work, so you're not able to stop yourself from telling everyone about it. I'm trying to imagine if my teenager started confessing all their sexual thoughts to me. I would like surgically implant noise canceling headphones or something, like la 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 la.
Be like, time to go to college.
Yes.
Don't care how old you are.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have one more that we can talk about. And this is a somatic or just right subtype of OCD. And this is about an adult male in his early 30s. He was previously healthy. He had no psychosis. This is like a common theme. I'm guessing all these people were anxious, but they just didn't have like a major psychiatric history, because OCD seems like it's kind of on a spectrum of anxiety.
Absolutely.
You know? But this guy had a high functioning job in an office. He had no neurological problems, and this gradually worsened over 2 to 3 years. So by the time he was in the specialty clinic, it had been going on for about 3 years. This is mentioned in the literature in the 2000s. So it starts subtly. He noticed when he walks through a doorway, he starts thinking, wait, that was wrong. Like, your body hasn't done that correctly. I have to go walk through it again. So walking itself becomes a problem. So he develops the feeling that his left foot has to match his right foot.
Are you fucking with me?
No, I'm serious. Why are you saying that?
You're fucking with me?
No, he says his steps had to feel evenly distributed.
Because I just told you I did that as a kid.
Well, tell the strangers what you told me.
Exactly that. For a period of months, it felt like forever. It could have been years for all I know. If my right foot started out walking out of a room, I'd have to end with my left foot, so they would both get the same number of steps in each room. And in our house, we had, there was a raised, hardwood threshold in each one. So I was constantly trying to do that bullshit and tripping, just being a dumbass. But I just did that forever, where both feet had to touch the floor the same amount of times in each room.
Whoa. And what if it didn't? You had to go back and do it again?
Oh, God, I'm trying to remember. No, I'm pretty sure I made it happen every time.
Oh, right. It just wasn't an option. It was going to happen.
I guess it was just easy enough to be like, all right, I have to hop up and just, I don't know. I don't really remember details.
Well, you had a
I don't think there was a catastrophe, but
it was the somatic just right subtype that you were experiencing mildly as a child.
That is wild, because strangers, Amy literally did not know this story 20 minutes ago.
No, that's nuts.
I thought you were fucking with me.
Nope.
Okay.
So if he didn't feel like it was right, he would have to stop and go back and do it again. So he would walk through a doorway, feel wrong, turn around, re-walk through it, sometimes, hundreds of times.
No, I never had to do that.
Okay.
But it was just the getting both feet.
It escalated beyond walking. So when he would sit down, he would have to feel symmetrical pressure in both his hips. When he would turn his head, he would have to feel even. When he would blink, he would have to have not too many left eye blinks in a row. Who blinks with one eye?
No one.
Even his breathing had to feel correct, not uneven or rushed.
That whole thing sounds fucking exhausting.
Exhausting. Yeah. And if it didn't feel right, he has to repeat the action. Sometimes.
Well, of course, he's going to repeat breathing.
Well, yeah. That's
and blinking. True. But all the other shit.
Yeah, but if you're like, wait. That wasn't right. I don't even know how
then you just seem like you're stoned.
Right. So in this subtype, the brain isn't focused on danger or germs. The focus is on not finished. There's a circuit in the brain, especially involving the basal ganglia and the anterior cingulate cortex, that helps you know when something is complete. But in this case, that system malfunctions. So instead of saying, okay, you walk through the door, your brain says, no, that wasn't right. Do it again. And every time you repeat the action, the anxiety drops for a minute. And you think, oh, well, that was what dropped the anxiety. Let me do that again. So it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because I was reading that children do have more OCD tendencies because their frontal lobe isn't as developed. When I was little, it was magical thinking, where I had to, if we were driving in the car, and the light turned yellow. If we didn't get through the intersection before it turned red, then my mom didn't love me. So I think everyone, I would hope, has some sort of weird thing. But here's the thing. A lot of people say they're OCD when things don't line up a certain way, or you can't deal with a picture being crooked. Like, I have a thing where if I'm putting the volume on the TV, it has to be on like a divisible by 5.
What?
You do that?
No.
Oh.
No, I can't do that.
I can't have it on like 32. It has to be on like 30 or 35.
Are you serious?
No, yes, but that's not OCD.
Okay,
it's just
then what is it?
It's a weird preference that's anxiety based.
Okay.
But when people say, oh, it's my OCD, I need to, like we went into a store this weekend and there's like 7 candles and I smell one and now I have to smell them all, or I don't feel finished.
Well, I feel like that's more of, I want to smell the delicious candles.
It wasn't. It was, I need to smell them all just to feel finished.
Okay.
But here's the thing. If someone I was with said, we got to go, I would be like, and I would leave, but I wouldn't, like, it wouldn't bother me.
You wouldn't freak out over it.
No, it wouldn't bother me into the evening. I wouldn't be ruminating. I got to get back there and smell those last 4 candles. I think that's a big part of the difference.
Thank God.
When you need to have everything a certain way, that's part of obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, or OCPD. And it's mostly mild enough that it doesn't, like, impact people's functioning all too much. It might, like, take more time to make sure your desk is, like, a certain way. But,
right.
Or your cans are turned a certain way, or your towels are neatly hung.
That's what my pantry and my linen closets look like.
Yeah, sure. You should get that checked. But clinically, OCD is not a personality disorder. It's an intrusive distress with a compulsive neutralization, and it's fundamentally different. The key difference is that OCD is ego dystonic, meaning I don't want these thoughts. They're distressing, they're intrusive. I don't want to be afraid of Twinkies. OCPD is ego syntonic. This is correct. Order and control are necessary. This is how I live my best life, when I keep everything in order. So one is a fear-driven compulsion and one is a personality structure. So when people say I'm OCD, that's generally what they mean, is they're OCPD. So the question for the audience this week is, what are your OCD tendencies? So if you have any, let's put that in the Facebook discussion group. It's the Strange Mind discussion group. And if you're not on it, get on it. And please follow us on Instagram. Where else are we? TikTok, Facebook, as I said, Threads, all the things. Insta, you can follow us. We're Strange Mind Podcast. And please, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but please rate us and review us so we can keep bringing this exciting content to you. But that's it. Thanks for tuning in, strangers.
Peace out.
While we sometimes use humor when discussing psychological disorders and unusual case histories, we take mental illness very seriously. Our intention is never to mock or minimize the real suffering that people experience, but to explore psychology in an open, engaging, and human way, while still maintaining empathy and respect for those living with these conditions. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health symptoms or emotional distress, please reach out for help. In the U.S. and Canada, you can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 24/7. Thanks for tuning in.